Okay, this time let's add a little bit of banking to the ship. And I'm also going to just tweak the spring arm a little bit to play sort of in the middle of the screen. So I'm going to click on edit my flying pawn. And with my spring arm selected, I'm just going to raise it. I mean, if I move this across out of the way and start raising it up, you can see in this viewport the effect that that's having. So, you know, somewhere around there, let's just go 100. What we're going to do is add a little bit of banking. Now, we've already got this really nice sort of movement system, and we're not going to mess with that. We just want to sort of keep it simple. So we're going to start by using an input, and I'm using my keyboard. So I'm just going to say input keyboard D, and D is to turn right. Right. So we're going to use that, and I'm going to get access to my spring arm by dragging it in. Now, what we're actually going to do is we're going to move component 2. And the reason we're moving the spring arm is it's just, if we start messing with the ship, it's going to mess up like our ship's movement. I think this just might be the easiest thing to do. So I'm just going to add this, and you know what, maybe we'll add, I don't know, like a touch of location offset, and I don't know, 30 on that, I guess. Let's have a look. And you can play with like tick these, tick those, see how that looks, but ultimately what we want to do is when we turn right, so the camera sort of flips right, so it should look quite nice to go along with it. And let's do that as well. Yeah, okay. Now I could say when it's returned, do this, but that never really seems to work very well. It's like if the motion's been completed, it doesn't quite seem to work the same. So I'm just going to say return back to 0, 0. Oops, not 300. Don't return to 300. And let's try that. So once the button's done, yeah, there we go. It's quite nice. Cool. Okay. And for the left turn, let's just do basically the same thing, really, isn't it? But we will need to add a system to let us know that we're currently doing this. But you know what, for now, let's just duplicate you guys, throw you here, set you to be minus numbers, and do an input keyboard A. So if keyboard A is pressed, do this. If keyboard A is released, do this. Alright, that's not bad, is it? Oh, that's okay. Now, if you sort of tap it a lot, it does freak out a bit. So let's just prevent a bit of extra tapping, shall we, real quick, by saying we'll create a branch. So an if statement, so right click into some space and type in branch or if, and we'll get this. And what we want to say is, hey, are you currently turning left? So when we try to turn right, we're going to say, hey, are you currently turning left? So we're going to call this turning F. And if we are, let's just press compile and say, no, we are not turning left. So we're going to say, hey, are we currently turning left? If not, then are we turning right? Then we should set ourselves, so let's create another one, turning R, which also by default should be false. So we're going to say, hey, are we turning left? No. Well, let's turn right then, shall we? So we're going to set turning. So are we turning left? No. Let's turn right then. And when we're done turning right, so Control W to duplicate. Let's say we're done turning right. Cool. So in theory, that logic should work. We can also do when we're released, yo, we're no longer turning right. And we're going to need to sort of ask the same question as well down here. So we're going to say, hey, are we turning right? Because if we're turning right, we can't turn left that quickly. At least for sort of like, you know, the duration of this. It might sort of stunt the movement a little bit with the camera, but the motion will still, you can still turn in the game, it's just the camera itself. So I'm going to say, hey, are we turning left? If we are not, then that must mean we are turning left. And then let's say when we're done turning left, we will set turning left to be false, and there as well. Cool, let's test you out. That's quite nice actually. There we go. It should just make it a little bit more dynamic, make the turning a little bit more dynamic. Should it actually be rotating the other direction? Maybe this shouldn't be a minus. Maybe it should be a positive. And you should be the minus. Oops, not on location. I meant on rotation. Maybe you should be the minus. Let's find out. So you are meant to be negative there. But should you be positive? Let's quickly test. No, it was better before. Was it? I don't know. I'll leave you guys to figure that one out and fine tweak it and test it, play with those numbers. But there you go.